Hey, it's Sally Steele. Rock history is made. My film, Raised on Rock, the Burnette family legacy, is finally out on Amazon. Make sure you watch it. I wrote, produced, and directed this film, and I know you're going to love it. And today, I'm going to talk about my 4 crazy days with Gary Busey. Against some of the family's wishes, I got a hold of Gary to interview him for my film. He had played drums for the Burnettes way back before he became famous. I actually met Gary Busey way back in the 80s when I was a background extra for a movie. I was up on a hill with the other extras, and there wasn't much to eat up there, so I wandered down the hill where the beautiful people were, and Gary saw me and he's like, "So, how do you like being pinned up like a Shetland pony up there on the hill?" And I was like, "Oh, it's okay, but I was hoping to get some better food down here." And he said, "Well, you can come in my trailer. I have some food in there." But I was too much of a goody two-shoes to hang out in a movie star's trailer back then. So here I was, 30 years later, on Gary's doorstep in Malibu. I held up my hand to shake his hand, and he's like, "Oh, I don't shake hands." And I said, "Okay." And he's like, "Have we ever met before?" And I said, "Well, I worked with you when I was an extra on a movie." And he's like, "Oh." And then he held out his hand to shake my hand. I hadn't even gotten my camera out of the bag, and Gary started going on, "You know, there's aliens buried under the pyramids in Egypt." Maybe there are. And then he turned his attention to the television. "Stop whatever you're doing! This is my favorite part of the movie!" So we had to just sit there while Ethel Merman sang "There's No Business Like Show Business."
Whoa, what's next?
After we filmed, Gary went into this long speech of Indian proverbs and how, since he did something for me, I need to trade and give him something back. So he was essentially asking me for more money. And I said, "Well, we aren't compensating any of the performers in the film." And he still was pressuring me, but hey, this film put me in the poorhouse, and this trip to LA didn't help. So I explained that to him, but he kept pressuring me. So I went into Encino and I bought him like a crystal lamplight and some sun and moon wind chimes, and I took them back. Now, his wife and son really loved the gifts, but I don't think Gary was very happy because he still wanted money. Okay, going up to give Gary his gifts. Hope he likes them. So I asked him to sign the release form again, but he wouldn't do it. I had asked Gary if he would like to present Billy Burnette his award in Vegas for the awards ceremony, and he was all for it. So before I knew it, Gary was headed to Las Vegas. Gary's rep and I made arrangements to have a limousine pick up Gary and take him to the airport at LAX. And his rep made it clear, Gary has to have someone with him at all times, which means he has to have someone meet him at the gate and ride with him to the hotel in the limousine. And I didn't know what to do because you can't go up to the gate or any gate without a ticket in Vegas. So I heard about American Airlines having a VIP service where they gate meet celebrities. And I got that all settled. I was talking to American Airlines and they said, "Oh yeah, we'll pick him up. What's his name?" And I said, "Gary Busey." And they said, "I'm sorry, Mr. Busey is blacklisted for any of our services." So I'm thinking, why? And they wouldn't answer me. So I called Gary's rep and he just starts laughing. I said, "Why?" And he's like, "Who knows? He can't hear, so he yells at people. He probably told somebody off. Who knows?" So Gary got to the hotel in Vegas and I was out shopping for more gifts for Gary. And the calls started coming in. When am I coming to the hotel? Gary wants me there. He's upset because the windows in the hotel room don't open. Well, none of them open. He might jump out of the window. So then I got back to the hotel and Gary was in his pajama pants and he says, "Come on, let's go down to the casino. My fans love me. So then I got a call from Penn and Teller that Gary was all set for the show tonight. What show? My show is tomorrow. I gotta get ready. But I had to do what Gary asked, so I drove him to Penn and Teller's show, and me and Gary had conversations about when he died, his near-death experiences, and he said that when he died on his motorcycle accident, and it was a bad accident. I mean, his brains were literally on the street. And he said that when he died, he saw these beings that communicated with him, but they didn't speak. They only communicated through sounds and reading your thoughts. And they asked him if he would like to come with them or go back and continue his journey and his destiny. And he said they could read his thoughts. And he just thought, I would like to go back and continue my journey. And before he knew it, he was right back in his hospital bed. His motorcycle accident was so bad, with his head bashed in on the street, and a lot of people don't know that because of his accident and because of Gary Busey, that the helmet law was made in California. Gary and I finally got to the Rio backstage before Penn and Teller got there, and we ate up all the finger sandwiches, and Gary was grabbing these sugar packets, and he's like, I'm a sugar thief, and he's like, hey, that's a great name for a band, the Sugar Thieves. And I sometimes wonder, either this guy is a genius or he's completely crazy. And maybe it's a little bit of both. When we were backstage at the Rio, there was 3 older people there, like 2 older men and an older woman. And Gary was like, I don't want to be backstage with these backstage groupies. Hey, that's a great name for a band, Backstage Groupies. And so Gary went in the other room to talk to Penn and Teller, who he knew from filming The Apprentice. So during the show, Gary got upset because he wanted to be closer to the stage where he could go on stage and everybody see him. And we were back where the vice president was sitting and everything. So he was pretty mad about that. So after the show, on the way back from the Rio, Gary pointed to the Las Vegas Strip and he's like, see that at the Bellagio? I can just go in there and order whatever I want in any restaurant for free. And I'm going like, well, what do you mean? And he's like, well, because I'm famous, I just sit down and order, and they know the drill. They just give me whatever I want. So we got back to the hotel room, and Gary's like, sit down, we've got business to discuss. So I sat at the dining room table, and I was going to try to get him to sign the release form again, and he comes running out of the bedroom. Call security, call security. I'm like, what happened? And he's like, I don't have down feathered pillows. I can't sleep. Call the front desk. So I call the front desk, and I'm trying to explain to them, and he grabs the phone out of my hand. This is Gary Busey. I need down feathered pillows. I've had brain surgery. If I don't have down feathered pillows, I can't sleep.
I know you remember that, so don't tell me it didn't happen.
I think I'm going to have to go out in the middle of the night and get some pillows. The next day was Easter Sunday, and every place was closed, and I had to find some pillows for Gary. We finally found a Big Lots that was open, and I got a good pillow for Gary. So I'm racing back to the hotel to get it to him, and I get a call as I'm coming into the hotel. Sally, never mind about the pillow. I found some pillows here on the couch that will work. Yeah, okay, thanks for telling me. I'm not going to go into all the chaos and why Gary had a meltdown on the red carpet. You will just have to watch the film. But let's just say he made me a nervous wreck all through the show. He only did the show because I made out a promissory note to pay him more money. But at the end of the night, he just took the paper out of his briefcase and just tossed it on the floor like it was trash. So what good did it do? And during the show, my assistant was there and he asked for a Sprite. So she gave him a cup with some ice and a drink in it, and he's like, this isn't Sprite, it's something else. So my friend Jason went out and got him a Sprite since he could tell the difference between 7-Up and Sprite. In fact, every time I drink a Sprite, I think of Gary Busey.
Come on, man, come on.
I heard Gary was sleeping in the hallway at the hotel in front of his hotel room. Now, he had a key, so I don't know what he was doing sleeping out in the hallway. And I know they don't have any down feathered pillows in the hallway. But after the show, he still hadn't signed a release form. So we had to make a plan to ambush him before he went to the airport. I was pretty much overdrawn at the bank, but I took $300 out and I wrote a check for $200 and I put it on a clipboard with the release form and I sent 2 people up there. I didn't dare go up there because if he saw me, he never would have signed it. Apparently, he grabbed the cash off the clipboard and he's like, "What's this for?" And on it was 2 release forms and he's like, "I'm just signing one." And he signed one and I sent them 2 in case he tore up one and we had another one to sign. So they got the release form signed. Praise the Lord!
Well, you're going to use it now because you got it.
Despite Gary stressing me out so bad during the film, I actually think he kind of made the film because he was so crazy in it. So you will have to watch it. And I heard Gary got into some trouble lately, so this might be Gary's last film. So thanks for tuning in and watching. Make sure you go to my YouTube page, youtube.com/@RaisedOnRock, and I'll be posting a lot of things, behind the scenes and deleted scenes up there, so make sure you tune in. And don't forget to watch Raised on Rock, the Burnette Family Legacy on Amazon. And don't forget to review. See you next time.